The following presentation is brought to you by kmmedia.pro. Please visit kmmedia.pro for more information. Now stay right where you are as we present. Welcome to Positive Talk Radio, evolving ideas, one conversation at a time. Great guests, dynamic stories and interviews, plus new thoughts on a wide range of topics and concepts. I hope that you'll hang with me, Kevin McDonald, my friends, and of course, you. As together we work to understand why we are all here and what we can do to make our world a better place for all of us. To be happy, be kind, and live in peace together. Yep, that's Positive Talk Radio. Talk Radio. It's such a pleasure to have you here, and I'm lucky to be here. It's great to have everybody that's going to be listening, and I got a feeling that Anna Davis is going to have a bunch of folks that are interested in being with her today. So Anna, welcome to the show, and how are you?
I'm fine. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're so more than welcome. You're so more than welcome. You are one of seems like a billion of Allison Roberts people that she's working with, and you're going to even give a talk at Behind the Power on in October. Is that right?
Yes, I am.
Yes, what are you going to talk
about? So basically, the main topic is self-advocacy, speaking out for yourself. And I had my speech all written. And then I talked with Laura just the other day. And because of things that I had kind of come across and learned, it just changed my perspective on the whole thing. And so, yeah, I started over again on this. So I'm rewriting the speech again. So, but this time it's actually coming easier because it feels more inspired. So.
Well, I got to tell you, it's only August, and the event doesn't have until October, so you've got at least one more rewrite in you after you get this one done.
Because, well, this is only I think this was the fourth rewrite. So.
Well, but you see, as you get into the material that you're working with, you learn so much, and so your perception changes over time.
Very much so. Very much so.
And so that when that happens, you got to keep on going, keep on doing the best thing that you can, which is awesome.
Yeah, because what I had said before it wasn't right anymore. It wasn't the best thing to say. So it was like, okay, that's got to be, knock that out and go back to the drawing board. And some of it's still the same, but it's changed a lot.
Well, and just let it be and just keep doing what you're doing, and it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
It's going to be fine. Now, you also wrote a chapter in the upcoming book, right?
Yes. Yes, I did.
And what was that chapter on?
That chapter was about unresolved grief. I had lost both of my adoptive parents really close together. Actually, I lost one of my beloved dog. Started the whole loss process, and honestly, losing animals is just as tough as losing people.
And I think it's even tougher. I've lost a couple of dogs, and I've lost my parents, and I've lost my brother, and it was much more devastating. Not that I didn't love my parents and love my brother, I did, but it's losing your best friend. That's what they are.
Yeah, and I just recently lost my girl Blondie. That it was just a couple of months ago that she passed on the Rainbow Bridge, and I'm still mourning her. But and that's kind of why my speech changed, because I wrote one speech while she was still here and kind of refined it a little bit, and then I was like going through that grieving process. I realized I needed to change what I was saying in my speech, so that's what happened.
Now, was that a puppy dog or a little kitty?
Yeah, Blondie was she was a dachshund that I had, and I had her a puppy. She was 15, and yeah, she was my heart. She came to me at a time I really, really needed her, and the unconditional love that you get from animals, it can be so bold, it really does lift you up.
Oh, no, no question about it. That's why. Have you ever seen that T-shirt that says "I'd rather have a dog than a spouse"? Because
Yes,
every time I come home, the dog wags his tail, and that can't be said for the spouse.
yes. I I do. I have a shirt that says, "I don't care if anybody likes me, except for animals. I want animals to like me."
You like me. You really, really like me. Yeah, I know. I get it. But grief is a hard thing to get over. Is that kind of what your speech is going to be
So
about?
yeah, the chapter, because it was about I losing both of them. They both had you know fatal illnesses basically at the same time. Mom was supposed to go first, but then my dad ended up getting sick and going before her. And then in between, it was like one, he went, then the next year we had a hurricane because I live in the Florida Keys. And we had a hurricane that pretty much wiped our house out. So we had to live in a motorhome in the driveway for about a year while we were doing that. And then right when we were getting our house back together, then that's when mom decided to go too. And it was, and then right after that, I was fired from my job. And it was like, boom, 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 boom. And um, I never dealt with any of those losses. I just shoved them all in and just went on with life, pretended everything was fine, and it wasn't.
Well, I had a period of time like that when it's like everything's going like a bad country music song.
hmm
My dad died, my dog died, I lost my house, I got divorced, and sometimes it just keeps stone or like a ball going downhill, and you don't know when it's going to end.
Yeah.
But fortunately, has it's ended for you, right?
For the most part, I mean, I've learned since I've joined with Allison and the tools that she's given us, to when you get stuck in these emotions. And I came across this article the other day about adoptees and some of the stuff that they go through, and there was a comment about a lot of adult adoptees are why are we so angry? Why are we so angry? And this one answer really resonated with me. It's just, they said, in a nutshell, I think we adult adoptees have hidden triggers that creep up in predictable and unpredictable places in our lives. And these triggers cause us to feel angry because we are covering up emotions that we don't feel we should feel for fear of abandonment. And I was like, whoa, that's that explains. Yes, this is the explanation. And it was like I always thought I just was angry, but the anger was covering up the fear. I thought I was out of the fear, but it was the anger was just covering up the fear. So
Do
I was
you
like,
think I I don't know that I've seen a lot of books and things written about the adoptive experience of kids as they're growing up because my mother-in-law was adopted. It literally affected her entire life to the day she died, and she didn't die until she was 86 years old, and it
yeah,
affected her.
yes. Um, so I never, I don't know. I was curious growing up, but I always felt that it would hurt my adoptive parents' feelings if I was too curious and asked about them. Or even when I was, of age, I didn't go out searching for them because what if they were terrible? It was like, because you hear the horror stories, and my adoptive parents, they loved me. They weren't perfect or anything, but they loved me and they did the best they could. And so I didn't want to offend them. So I think that goes into that people pleasing mode that you can get stuck in. But this article that I ran across just listed off all the things that we feel. And one of the things that came up was about loss and how at the very beginning of your life, and if you are adopted right at birth and you don't have any bonding with your maternal, with your biological mother, you literally miss that. Your whole life you feel that loss, like this was from a scientific article that, and I was like, I feel like that is what happened to me. I can't prove it because it was a closed adoption, and I still have no idea who my biological mother could be. But I made up a story, because that's what we do. Apparently, I learned from Allison. We make up stories
Yep.
to make us feel better about our circumstances. So the story I made up as a child, the reason I was adopted was because the girl probably fell in love with some boy, but her parents didn't approve, so they sent her off to Alaska to have the baby. Because that's where I was born in Alaska,
Aha.
and so they sent her up to Alaska to have the baby, and then that's how I ended up there. But I have no idea if that's true or not. Could be, could not be.
I think if I were to guess, and given the time frame that was back in the 60s, I would I would say, like what is the court proceeding, more likely than not? I think
Exactly,
I
more
think
than
it's,
likely.
I think it's more than likely that was, I mean, my mother-in-law, she was born in 1930, and they found out years and years and years and years, long after the lady had passed, that her mother was a 16-year-old single girl in 1930. And so she ended up in a home, had the baby. Somebody came, gave them cash, and the baby disappeared, never to be heard from again. And that's, but that's kind of the way it worked
Yeah,
back then. So,
yeah,
but I see the bonding that a child does or needs from their natural mother, and when that's ripped away, even the act of, I don't know, breastfeeding, and the bond and the close bonding that goes on is really really necessary for the development of that child right
yeah.
from the get-go.
Yeah, and I read more about that, and so I hope that people that are choosing to adopt their children out first, please bond with them before you give them to the adoptives. Like at least do that initial bonding, just so the baby is not going to have that loss their whole life.
Now,
'Cause
what do you, by the way, Lisa says she loves you, so there you
I
go.
love you too, Lisa. That's
And
my friend that we only had pictures together at protests, but we did I think our first one was at the Key West Butterfly Garden. That
oh
wasn't,
wow.
we weren't protesting the Butterfly Garden. We love the Butterfly Garden.
Lisa,
But
we've decided that you and Anna need to put a movie together, and it's in the same vein as same time next year, where you get to see your friend once a year, but it's always at a protest, and see what she says. Anyway, so now I wanted to ask you, the one of the modern rages, one of the modern things that people are doing is becoming a surrogate mother. Does the same thing, do you think, apply for someone is a surrogate mother? And because
Interesting question.
I was just thinking about that, because when you think about it, the baby gets
I
used
would
to.
say yes, just as a guess, just because of that 9 month connection, that the 9 month connection. So inside the womb. So then I guess yes, they would. I think so. They would need a little bit of the outward bonding as well after, because then that's familiar. So yeah, that's just a guess though.
Well, that's just just thinking about it, the heartbeat, the rhythm,
Mm-hmm.
the entire thing, and then that's
The way
gone.
he walks, I mean, like that person, the way they walk is the way, that's familiar. That's the rocking pattern that they would, you know. So yeah.
I mean, that makes it really, really tough. And now we're going into a period of time when it's going to be very, very interesting. And I think that a lot more work needs to be done on how to adopt kids properly so that they don't face these issues that are out there and so prevalent. Because we're going to have a lot more adopted children here in the near future.
Unfortunately, unfortunately, that's probably going to be happening. Yeah.
And I wish they could fix it, but and I love the fact that you are an activist, as is Lisa.
Mhm.
So what was the last protest that you guys did?
Well, right after Roe v. Wade
Oh,
was,
yeah,
yeah,
there
so
is
that
that.
was our last. But
What did
mhm.
I gotta ask you now? This isn't the political show. I wanted, but what did you think? What did you think of the Kansas vote?
Oh, I was very, very, very much enthused by that because I actually lived in Kansas for a time in my life. So
You
I
know
didn't
how
I didn't hold out much hope for them honestly because it's a very conservative state. So for them to come out that strong, that gives me hope for the rest of the country. So I think we're gonna have
I
a strong midterm election.
you've heard the term unintended consequences.
Mhm.
I
Yes.
think the unintended consequences are that the majority of people believe, well, I would like to think that everybody believes that everybody's equal and should have equal rights, and they should not be subjugated to second class citizens because of their gender, which
Mm-mm. Exactly. Yeah.
which is horrible. But that's just me. But and I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad you're going to be talking about grief and when you wrote the chapter on grief, what was that like for you? Because you had some in your life.
So um, I actually finished the chapter before I lost Blondie. Um, so I kind of revisited though, and it has been a long time since we're at 27 years since I lost dad and 25 years since mom. Well, it'll be 25 in a few more weeks. Um,
They left fairly young then.
they were very young. They were both 63 at the time of their passing, and
You know,
honestly, I have a real that number is my husband is going to turn 63 and just at the end of this week. I'm just like,
so it's creeping right up there, isn't it?
yeah. So I'm like, oh my gosh, she's here.
You
So
know, there's something to be said for that. People that how long were your folks married?
um, I want to say they made it to 40. Or was it 35? They were at 37 when dad passed.
There's something to be said for the fact that um, soulmates or people that are so close to each other um, have a tough time making it without the other one,
Mm-hmm.
and so oftentimes one will pass shortly after the other one.
Yes, yes.
And I'm sure that they were very close, and I'm sure that they were very good parents for you. But there always was. Well, let me ask you. Let me put this in the form of a question. There was there always a time when there was a little bit of doubt? John says hello, by the
Hi, John.
way. John,
Yes.
you haven't booked another session to come on the podcast, so you're in trouble, young man.
Yeah, I always felt just a little different than everybody else.
Yeah.
Just a little different, and but not that my parents ever made me feel that way. They didn't. They made me feel loved and wanted. So.
Nope. I remember when I was growing up that was a now I grew up in the 60s and early 70s. So but saying that you were adopted was a one of the bigger slams that you could get somebody with. It was a very derogative meant in a very derogative way.
Yeah, I didn't really um bring it up. It was just like whenever in school, like you do the projects and you have to do the report on your heritage. I
Right.
had no clue, like my real heritage, so I just do, my mom and dad's, what theirs was, but that wasn't really mine. And I always made me like, what am I really? So I did find out because I did the 23andMe. So I kind of was a little bit surprised, but not. So I'm pretty
So
much like,
were you like something that you didn't think that you were going to be, or
I, no, I really thought that I was going to have some Italian in me because I talk with my hands and I love Italian food. But I had no Italian in me, so that kind of made me sad. But other than that, I'm pretty much a mutt.
well, at this point in time, we're pretty much all mutts.
hmm
You know,
The funniest thing that I did learn from that, um, they can trace all the way back to your Neanderthal genes, your Neanderthal DNA, and they can find different variants that are still active. And one of my active variants said that I like to hold on to things that I seldom use. So if anybody knows me, yeah, I'm a pack rat and I hold on to things I seldom use. And I'm like, oh, it's not my fault. It's my Neanderthal roots.
you want to put it in the back of the cave and leave it there.
That's right. I might need that again.
Have you ever thought about having the conversation with her? Has somebody ever had a conversation with you that said, Anna, if you haven't used it in 6 months, you don't need it? Uh,
My
that's
husband throws the stuff away. He doesn't even say anything. He's like, she won't even know, and she'll just throw it away. He'll just throw it away. And yep, I don't know. Oh, look at Lisa. She's she's throwing stuff away for me too.
well, as long what you don't know won't hurt you.
Exactly.
Well, you can only have so much stuff, but it's interesting how your your background will dictate some of your behaviors. Well, who's that?
That's Mango. Come here. That's Mango.
Oh, very nice.
Want to say hi to Mango? Say hi.
Hi, Mango. Like, I just wanted you to pick me up, Mom.
We heard the people next door, and they have a big dog, and he has to act tough because he's so big.
Of course. What kind of dog is that?
He's a Havanese.
What?
A Havanese. So
Is
apparently they're the official dog of Cuba now, but they came from Spain, and they are known as chicken herders. So they round up the chickens.
Did you know that that's actually a thing?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because chickens, a lot of people don't know this, but chickens are a herding animal,
Mm-hmm.
and so they like to stick with the pack,
Yep.
and they like to be close together. So that's
And
very possible. A little dog like that
that's
to keep them together.
Yep. And it's funny because we had our first dog when we first got married was half Australian Shepherd and half Blue Heeler. So of course he was a
Oh,
herding animal, and he would always try to herd everybody with the heel going behind and grabbing the heel.
yeah,
Mango stop. But this one, because he's a chicken herder, he goes to the front of your foot because chickens have spurs on the back of their feet, so they
yes,
don't
they
go for that.
do.
They go for the front. So
And
yeah.
by the way, Christine says hello. It's nice to have all you guys here. It's great. It's great fun. I had you had a Australian Shepherd and a Blue Heeler mix.
Yes.
Did that car ever try, or that dog ever try and drive your car?
That dog could do everything. He was the smartest dog. Oh my gosh. His favorite thing to do was to lie in wait for people and then jump out and scare the bejesus out of them. And you could see him smiling. If he could have went cha-ching like that, he would have, because he loved to do that. He thought it was hilarious.
That was his job,
Yeah.
to scare the humans.
He thought it was just hilarious. Yeah.
That is so funny. So, and how old is this one?
We think he's probably about 8. We got
Oh,
him when he was about probably right around a year old. He's a foster fail. I was gonna foster him, but my other dog Blondie wanted to keep him, so he stayed.
so so you had this conversation with Blondie, did you?
Well, yeah, basically, she was like, "No, I want to keep this one," so we did.
So do you do rescues a lot?
Yeah, not on purpose. I have never went out looking for any of these animals. They all just come to me.
Because they know you're a
I
safe
have,
person for this.
how many cats do I have? There's Marie and Smokey and Trixie and Caroline and Annabelle and Nugget. I have 6 cats, and I didn't
Are
go
they,
looking for any of them.
are they indoor cats or outdoor cats?
Some are in and some are out.
Oh my goodness gracious. Now, you live in the Keys. I've never been there. Do you have a lot of like little rodents and stuff?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So do you have to feed
Palm
these?
rats. We have those palm rats. They literally live in the palm trees. They're up in the palm trees. Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
I had no
Palmetto.
idea. Uh,
Hmm.
does your kitties bring home presents for you?
Luckily, they have not. Luckily, I have not seen any presents. Luckily,
So they eat them. Well, never mind. I
let's
don't
hope.
want to.
Let's.
I don't want to put that thought in your head.
Yeah. Well, I don't have any of those types of palms around my property, so I try not to have things that attract the rats. So,
So
although now you guys have to watch out. The newer cars, they are covering the wiring. The outside coating that goes over the wires is soy based, so the rats will get in there and eat that.
oh good. Oh good. So
Yeah.
so now let's talk about, do you remember the first time that you met Allison Roberts?
Yes.
Tell us about it.
So that was what she calls the painless pivots to power. Her and she's getting ready to do that again. And so she holds the Zoom sessions in class and does does hot seat coaching and stuff. And I did that program. And at the end of it, it was like, I need to keep going because this just started me. Like, it's like, wow, I finally found how I can how I can move forward and quit being stuck in this position. So I signed up for the meeting to meet with her one on one, and I decided to take the leap and jump into her program, Unapologetic Power, and did that. That was let's see, it was in March of 21 when I did that. And then the next thing you know, she's inviting me to be in the next book and speak on the stage, and also I'm in her practitioner program too. So learning the nuts and bolts of everything as well. So I'm still pinching myself that I'm here.
That's pretty awesome. Now, when she asked you to write a chapter in the book, what was your first response? Was it, "Oh yeah, I've been writing for years. I'd love to do that," or was it, "No, I can't do that"?
I was like, I'm not ready. And she says, yes, you are. I'm like, no, I'm not. Yes, you are. So yeah, she with her support, I just, I didn't want to say I everything in me was saying no but I was like, because if I do that, I'm not going to grow. I'm going to stay stuck. And this is a big opportunity for growth. And I didn't want to stay. I was stuck for so long. I didn't want to, get to another level and be stuck there. So I said yes.
Now, was getting stuck a fear of yours, or did you feel like that once you were set free that you could do anything?
Um, I still feel like I can get stuck again if I don't you can't stop doing the work. You have to do it every day. You know, you can't just say, okay, I took care of that problem. I'm done. I'm good to go. And you can just go on with your life. That's not the way it works. So
So you got to keep doing what she advocates that you do, which is, and she gives you homework and all that kind of thing, but based upon what your individual needs are.
Yes, yes. I mean, she gives us an overview on the classes and whatnot, and but then we do have one-on-one sessions with her, and we can get, you know, more into our own things. And she's always there for us too, and others in the group. We rely on each other. We call each other, and um, I don't. I think most of us have talked about our small groups. So we
Right.
have our small group that we meet with once a week, and we keep each other, um, to we do goal setting together, and we basically keep each other on our toes. Um, and they're it's a one. I love my small group. Everyone thinks their small group is the best, but mine's really the best.
Well, of course, it wouldn't be your small group if you didn't think it was the best. And everybody's the same way. But that works. I mean, that's good.
No,
That's
it's a really wonderful part of her program, I think, because it's you make more personal connections with with people in the group. So
I'm coming to understand. And to Anna, tell me if this is your experience. I'm coming to understand that coming after the pandemic and being alone and wearing a mask and can't do this and that, that it really is vital that we form a sense of community and create a community around like-minded ideas, people that are positive, that want to make positive change in the world and with each other, and forming a community is of people that actually, I, stop me if you've heard this before, people that actually care, you
mhm.
know, because there's a lot of times when you get into a group and they don't really care one way or the other, but people who actually care can make a difference in your life. Don't you agree?
Absolutely, and that's what I love about this group. Everybody genuinely cares. We care. We care about healing ourselves so we can spread it out and get the ripple effect, you know, to others.
Yes.
Because when
and,
you,
and
it's like, what's that saying about when right, like lifting the boats? When you lift the boats, that we
uh,
all that we all rise. So
yep, a rising tide lifts all boats, I think it
that's
is.
that's it.
Yes, and the fact of the matter is that is so necessary for all of us to appreciate who we are and to help each other because I don't know if you've noticed, but we all have issues that have
Oh yes, oh
and
yes.
I know this is gonna shock you, but even Allison Roberts occasionally has a and she'll openly tell you that.
Yes, that's the best part of her program. I think is that she doesn't hide, you know, any of that stuff from us. She's open with us and shares with us and is there for us in the same way. So it's I was at a point where I was pulling back from people and I didn't have a lot of I just I was happy when the pandemic came. I was like, yay, I don't have to go anywhere. This gives me an excuse to stay at home and not have to see anybody, right? So, but since I've been in this program, I'm coming out of my shell, I should say.
Well, you're doing a beautiful job during this interview. So
Thank
you've
you.
you've accomplished a lot, and and I can't remember who it was, but one of the gals said that she was in bed most of the time, and didn't bother to get out of bed and stuff. And now she's up and about. She's going to be a speaker. It is remarkable when people decide that they want to make a change in their life and they get the support that they need. They can do amazing things.
Absolutely. That's what you said about you have to put the thought. You have to have the thought that that you can believe, you know.
Yeah.
So that's what Allison teaches us is like if we're having a thought that we don't like and it's giving us a bad feeling, well, we got to come up with a different thought that we can believe because you can't BS yourself, you know. We know when we're BSing ourselves. So you got to come up with a different thought that you can believe. Sometimes it takes a while. Sometimes it takes a while.
Sometimes it takes a while to figure out that you're BSing yourself.
True, true. I'm really good at the brain dump part where you just start pouring it all out on the piece of paper, and then I have to go back and comb through it and find the real stuff, because some of that is BS, We got to find what the real issue is out of that, all of that. So
And that's why, and I say it all the time. That's why it's important to have a coach. Even Allison has a coach. Most
yeah,
people do. Most people that are really interested in the work and learning how to take care of each other in a better way and take care of themselves. We all have blind spots, and we need help occasionally.
yeah, the blind spots for sure, because um, and when someone shines that light on it, and then you're like, oh wow, but once then as Allison says, that's 90% of the healing. Awareness is 90% of the healing. So when you become aware, then now you can focus and put that awareness and to get that healing.
Now, you mentioned that earlier in life you were an angry young woman. And did you know why that was at the time, or was it you just figured that just was who you are?
So, you know, as a child, I remember being labeled as having a bad temper. So I think that, this is just kind of the hindsight. It's just that's what was expected of me. That's where I was supposed to go when there was some type of upsetting thing. That's what I was supposed to do because I had a bad temper. So I was supposed to get mad. And then, so I really, it really, that this getting stuck in anger really happened after they passed, and I didn't deal with the grief, and I just tamped it down, and it just turned into a big ball of anger is what it turned into because I never dealt with it. So it was, so then, like I read that to you earlier about basically the anger was covering up everything else. And so I could just everything pissed me off, you know?
So how did that present itself? Were you like in traffic flipping everybody off and
Oh, yeah, yeah.
and your
I was
personal
cussing them
relationship?
out. I didn't really flip them off, but I was cussing them out. They couldn't hear me because I had the windows up and the stereo going. But yeah, I called them
Yes.
some bad names.
And with your family and stuff like that. So it was you just were
um, I would by this time when it got really bad, my kid was already out of the house. He's moved on, and I was dealing with health issues too, so it was like kind of the perfect storm of emotional, mental, physical, everything at once. And so it just became I just was angry at my situation and how I was feeling and all of that. And my husband was really pretty supportive. Um, and he would just let me know when I was just yelling at him for no reason, he'd be like, you don't even know what you're talking about. I'm like, okay, you're right. And then I would just stop.
but that would piss you off too, wouldn't it?
Well, I know, because then by that time, see, it was like, okay, I'm just letting off steam to let off steam at this point, and it's not really the issue. So yeah, I
So
didn't
then
see it, all of that I was stuck in that until I got with. I mean, I did because that's why I wanted to join the program because I was tired of I was exhausted. I was exhausted from feeling that way all the time.
right. And now you're not.
No, and I mean, I have come a long way, but some I can still get angry. But sometimes I think it's justified. Some things you should be angry about. So I just have to. It's the response now. Instead, it's responding instead of reacting now. So that's my focus.
That's one of my favorite two words to be used, correctly, which was is the difference between a reaction and a response.
Hmm.
I feel, and I think Allison talks about this. A response is a planned action that you're taking based upon good information that you've gotten. A reaction is just that.
It's
You're
like a trigger.
yes, you're just reacting what happened to you before, and so that's never good.
It's like somebody lights your fuse and you're the firecracker. Boom!
That doesn't happen to me much, except when I'm in the car. For some reason, uh, when I'm in the car, it's a whole different thing. So,
Yeah,
puppy dog wanted to come up and say hi.
he does. I don't know. He's got something going on today. He's acting afraid, and I don't know why. I think I need to call Karen and have her connect to him and see why he's acting funny. I
Yeah,
don't know.
you know how that is. And Karen, being the animal communicator that she is, and by the way, she's going to be at Behind the Power too.
Mm-hmm.
All you guys are going to be there, and it's
Well,
go ahead.
and Jennifer is also an animal communicator. She's helped me
That's
out,
right.
and so is Carrie. And yeah, I think there's Christine can hook up with animals too. Christine Cole. Has she been on yet?
I don't know, Christine. I do. I got to tell you, I do so many podcasts in a week that I did 10 last week.
I don't think she's been on yet. All right, I can't wait to see Christine.
And if Christine, you haven't been on, why have not you been on?
Yeah, Christine.
So there.
There's
Um,
a few of us that haven't been on yet. You haven't talked to Beth yet. She's the chocolate lady. She makes amazing chocolate.
okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to that. Obviously.
There's like,
Oh, Christine says she's going to be on Wednesday.
yay! Okay, yay.
Yes, yes, indeed. And Christine, I hope I don't disappoint you. That's all I'll say. But Anna, it's great fun having you here, and you've because my mother-in-law was adopted. I know the pain that you go through. Christine says, "Not a chance, not a chance." And the pain you go through, it's weird because there's not a damn thing you can do about it because you had nothing to do with any of it, but
No,
you feel the responsibility for it.
yeah. I when I ran across that article and it talked about like the 7 key things that the adoptees will feel. They feel a sense of loss. They feel a sense of rejection because obviously you have to be rejected by your birth parents, so you can get adopted. And then as children, most most children, no matter what it is, they figure there had to have been something wrong with me for them to want to reject. Why didn't they want me? There must have been something wrong with me. It must be my fault. So
Exactly.
that's the guilt and shame of why didn't they want me. And then also grief, loss is felt more deeply. And I look back when my mom's father died, my grandfather, and he was kind of my favorite of the grandparents. And when he passed, I was so mad, and I didn't get to go to the funeral. Only mom went, and I felt like gypped that I didn't get to go and say goodbye to him. And I was just really mad. I think that's where some of my anger started, right there. I was really, really mad about that. It was like, how can you just go? And then identity issues. Um, and it kind of brought up to me how when we moved, the last place that we moved when I was a kid was Kansas, and it was a very small rural town. And previously, we had been living in the suburbs of Chicago, so I was a city girl. And then all of a sudden, we're out in the sticks, basically in Kansas. And I didn't talk like them. I didn't dress like them, you know. And so I ended up being labeled a freak. I was like, okay. Um,
Yep, when you're in the sticks in Kansas, you are really in the sticks.
yeah. And I remember when Dad went and got the phones, and he brings them into the house, and they were rotary phones. We're like, what? Why did you get those, Dad? And he goes, well, that's all they had. And we're like, what? Okay. And then we were like, oh my gosh, we've been moved back. Not only did we move to another state, we moved back in time.
Back to the 1950s, you betcha.
It felt like it. But yeah, and I just so didn't fit in there. And they never, like, I didn't feel like I had an identity there. They called me that Vermilion girl, like, I don't know. That was my last name. And then I married my husband. I was very young, and when I married him, then we'd go places, and I would be introduced as his wife. Like, they wouldn't even say my name, and it really bugged the hell out of me. And then it was like, after I read this, I was like, oh, now that makes sense why that was such a big deal to me, that I wasn't given an identity, that I had to stop.
Now, do you remember what year you got married?
Yes, 1982.
Well, and in those days, it's God, I say in those days, it's like 1982 for me was like yesterday. But that still was 30 years ago. No, wait a minute. That's 40
40
years
years ago.
ago. Jiminy Crystal. That's
I
40
know.
years ago.
We celebrated our 40th anniversary this year.
Congratulations, by the way. That means something in this day and age to make it for 40 years. But what's interesting is you were not even in 1982, you were not perceived as an equal citizen under the law or anything else.
No, no, absolutely not.
You were somebody's wife.
Yes, yes.
And
Especially Kansas.
oh yes, that's the Bible Belt, and that's the Southern Baptists and all of that. So,
So I think that's one of the reasons that I really loved the Keys when we first got here, was because I was me. They called me by my name. I had a name. They called
you
me
actually
Anna.
had a name. Isn't that
Yeah,
cool?
they called me Anna. It was like, whoa, I got a name here. This is awesome.
Not Mrs. Davis.
No, they didn't call me Mrs. Davis. I haven't been called that very often, honestly.
I I got to ask you, being an adopted and growing up with your adoptive parents, when you got into trouble, as every kid will, every now and again will get into trouble, did you assume that it was because you were adopted, or did you assume that you had done something wrong?
Um, when I was little, I guess I thought I don't think I ever thought it was because I was adopted. I don't think I ever felt like I got in trouble because of that.
Now, did your parents, were they open and honest about the fact that you were adopted?
Yeah, I don't remember them ever sitting me down and telling me. It's just like I knew my whole life, you know, and I don't. And they did adopt another daughter after me, so I knew, that she was adopted. So obviously, and she's like 2.5 years younger than me. So yeah, so I guess I probably really understood it then when she came.
Now, because you were both adopted, did you have a stronger bond? Did you have a bond?
That no,
Apparently not.
honestly, what's sad is I thought we did, but not not so much on her end. So, and we've I've tried to stay kind of in her life over the last years, but she makes it really, really hard. And I look, and after reading this article, I see all this stuff. Like, she had multiple issues as well, and she's never been into this program, in a program like this.
Oh, she needs to be in a program
She
like this.
really does. She needs it worse than me.
I was
And
talking
I
with
actually, I invited her to Behind the Power, and her response was, "That's okay. I can pray." And I was like, "Okay, that's
well,
nice. That's not enough."
actually her statement is prophetic because she can pray, not it's not going to help, but she can surely pray until she's, blue in the face. You have to have somebody that can help you understand why you do what you do.
Yes.
And how you respond to different things versus how you react to different stuff, and it really is. And Allison is just so good at it. So and by the way, AllisonRoberts.com is where you want to go if you want to find out all about her, and also BehindThePowerEvent.com. You can go there, and you by the way, that's where I got your picture the from that. So to put up on YouTube, because this is going straight to YouTube right now, and wave, everybody's listening, watching. And it's been great, Anna. I want to give you the opportunity to talk about what you're going to be talking about at Behind the Power, and also where you see yourself going. You're also in her management program, and how where where do, where would you like all of this to lead you down the road?
Well, I'm not sure exactly, but I know that just having these tools will help me the rest of my life with all the relationships in my life. But I want to help people, and I want to help animals too. And I'm already, basically I take in anybody that comes to me, basically as far as the animals go, and just learning these tools to learn how to help others is where I'm at, and I I I'm very concerned about our environment. So I kind of like that's kind of my focus. Um, I think I'm gonna try and start a letter writing campaign somehow about our packaging, because the packaging, we don't need this throwaway packaging. We used to, in the old days, we had reusable packaging, and we could go back to that very easily. Things should also be sold in bulk in every grocery store, not just the specialty places like, you know Whole Foods, you know
Right.
instead of having to buy everything in a plastic container. So
And you could bring your own plastic containers and then fill it up from the
exactly,
bins.
reuse them. Yes.
We're going to have to get to that point because we're filling up the landfills.
Yes. Yes.
And but we got so many issues that I'm glad you are a activist that's working on helping us, at least getting the word out there about some of the silly things that we're doing to ourselves. It really
That's
is.
what my breakout session is about eco activism, and keeping your sanity at the same time when you're out there advocating for these different issues, but not making yourself crazy. So that's what my breakout session is about. um, I'm on the home healing health panel, so we'll be talking about different strategies to um, for a healing environment in your home. And what's my other one? I forget the other one. I'm on one other panel too. I think. Oh, we're talking about vulnerability, and being authentic. So
Very cool, very cool. Because being authentic and vulnerable is an important step, I think, to
yeah,
make. And by the way, Michelle says Anne and I started at the same time, and she's doing amazingly well. And Anne is very, very passionate about these topics. Well,
Michelle is also in my small group. We're in our small group together as well. So
it's like when somebody tells me that there's nothing that we can do about gun violence, and it's like I just shake my head. It's like, yes, there is, but you're not going to want to hear it. So, but eventually we're going to come to it, whether we want to or
That's
not.
one of my proud moments. We had when the kids did the March for Our Lives, the first one, we did one here in Marathon as well, and it was very successful. And so it just showed how many people are in favor of regulating the guns instead
Oh,
of putting bulletproof backpacks on children. That seems absurd.
it's going to be a bad day when if part of the um, employment interview for a teacher is, do you know how to handle a 30-06 or an AR-15, and what's your shooting score, and that
What's sad right now is literally across the country there is a huge teacher shortage, and they don't want to die. That's why. I mean, just think about it, because you don't know where these shootings are going to be. And they're not getting, they don't get support. They
yeah,
get run down. So
I agree. Every time I think about, and the week before the shooting in Texas, there was a shooting in a grocery store in Ohio, I think. And I
Buffalo.
keep Buffalo. That's it, Buffalo. And I kept thinking about my grandmother when she was 76, going to get some half and half because we were going to have pie, and she needed to go do that, and she ended up getting shot. I just don't understand where we're going, and so long story short, I applaud your activism.
Thank
Um, yeah, keep it up. This is, like I said, this isn't a political show, but some of this is just so outlandish and so silly that
I, it's stupid that some of the things shouldn't even be considered political, honestly. And Allison pointed out to me that the reason that I'm like such a social justice warrior activist is because I felt like the beginning of my life was unjust, that I didn't have justice. Like I didn't get to choose what happened to me at the beginning of my life. And so so therefore now I'm on the side of the underdog no matter what. And I am like it doesn't matter what fight it is. I'm always on the underdog side, like always, always.
well, that's good. That means you're going to be a Seattle Seahawk fan this year. Anyway, so forget I said that.
I used to be a Miami Dolphin fan for years, so believe me.
Ah, gotcha. We've been talking with Anna Davis. Anna, if somebody wants to get in touch with you, how do they do that?
So I run a Juice Plus business, so they can go on that website, which is annadavis.juiceplus.com, and it's a great way to get all your fruits and veggies in every day. Or they could, my email is bananaanna, which is BANANANNA. Just add NNA to banana, and then add a 29 at Gmail.
There are too many A's in that, by the way. Just thought I'd mention. So we've been talking for 58 minutes. The first time I knew that you had a business and you were Juice Plus. What in the world is the world coming to? Tell us about your business real quick.
Okay, well, one of my friends noticed that I was having some health issues. This was several years ago, and gut issues. And she was like, "You should try this product. It's really great." And basically, it's whole food that is, been pulverized and dehydrated and put in a capsule, so you get all the benefits of all the fruits and the veggies and everything in these capsules. So you can literally get 17 servings of fruits and vegetables every day in a capsule. And so I started taking it when I was having all the issues. And at one point, I couldn't even eat regular food. I was only eating basically mashed potatoes, and I wasn't allowed to have anything else. But they let me take the capsules, and they were amazed. The doctors were amazed at how well I was coming back. So they were like, they did not expect me to gain weight during that period, but I did. and it was all the Juice Plus. So I stuck with it. I just basically have been using it and haven't really done it as a business too much, but I'm like, I got this platform now, so let's talk about it. Let's sell it because it can help people. It really can.
Exactly. And by the way, were you allowed to have butter with your mashed potatoes?
Vegan butter.
What the hell is vegan butter?
Because I'm vegan as well, so I don't eat any animal products. So basically, it's still a butter, but it's made the same way. My favorite one is a cultured vegan butter from Miyoko's.
Very nice. I used to be a chicken salesman. I'm sorry I can't get away. Anyway, so Anna Davis, go. But if somebody wants to go to your Juice Plus website, how do they do that?
It's just annadavis.juiceplus.com.
Very good. annadavis.juiceplus.com. It's been a pleasure. How do you feel like you did? Did you feel like you did okay?
Yeah, I'm not. My heart is not pounding anymore.
Oh, come on. It wasn't pounding in the beginning, was it?
It was.
You did awesomely well, and everybody will congratulate you. You did really, really well. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so much, Kevin.
Oh, you are so welcome. It's a pleasure, and I enjoyed it greatly, and I'm looking forward to. I may only be there digitally on at Behind the Power, but I'm looking forward to your talk on at Behind the Power. So that'll be fun. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
And wait right there, and I'll be right back. Hey, thanks for enjoying this episode all the way to the end. Please give us a like and subscribe to this channel. This has been a production of PositiveTalkRadio.net. Please visit our website, oddly named PositiveTalkRadio.net, for more details about us and our mission, which is to provide great positive programming designed to inspire us all. I'm Kevin McDonald, and I'm proud of these shows, and I truly hope that you'll like them and share them with friends and family. So on behalf of our entire team, remember, be kind to one another because each other's all we got.